Today we have some brand new updates. The first is Claude. So Claude have actually just introduced a new feature, which is web search. Now, it was about time that Claude actually got web search, but it is going to be super useful, and I'll explain why in a minute. Plus, I'll show you some practical examples of how to get the most of this. But you can see that today this was just announced. So Claude web search has just been announced, and this can now search the internet and provide up-to-date responses, which is great because as powerful as Claude was previously, it couldn't actually access the internet, and its information was limited to October 2024. And now you can see that if we, for example, say use the web search feature preview option I've enabled, and then we ask it to search for information, it actually kind of has like a Google style response where it pulls in the top examples of content for that particular search term. So if we type in, for example, search or SEO, then it will come in with all of these responses right here, and this links directly to the web pages. Now, one of the things that I noticed about all these AI models, for example, like Claude and everything else, is that, you know, let's be honest, like people will be using Google less and less, which is why, for example, if you're a website owner or you're a business owner, it's so important to start optimizing for AI as well, not just for traditional search engines like, for example, you know, ChatGPT or Claude or these sort of things. You want to be ranking #1 inside those as well. And it's super important because, you know, you can see here, for example, if you can build stuff, if you can get really concise answers, if you can get better answers than you would elsewhere, then why would you use Google? Why would you use these search engines, right? So this was the announcement, as you can see right here, just came out a few hours ago, and they've said you can now use Claude to search the internet to provide more up-to-date and relevant responses. And the beauty of this is that with web search, you have access to the latest events. You can get better and more accurate responses and accuracy on tasks, and you benefit from the most recent data. So here's an example. Like if you were coding a web app and you're trying to use like the latest updates from that particular code, like TypeScript 5.5, then you can say, right, compare the guidelines or get the latest API, pull in the latest information. I'll show you some examples of prompts right here in a second. And then this is what it looks like. So you've got the 10 results. You can pull them up or pull them down. It actually links to them, which I'm surprised by. But as you can see right here, the top 5 get the most real estate. And then these guys, you're probably not going to click on at all, right? So you want to be ranking top 5 inside Claude if you are optimizing for search engines as well. And essentially what this is doing is pulling in direct citations. Why is that useful? So you can easily fact check sources. Now, the other thing about this to note is that all of a sudden, you know, one of Perplexity's major benefits versus other, you know, AI engines is that previously Perplexity was really great for just pulling in citations, pulling in sources, etc. Right? But if Claude can already do this, I can't really see a real need for using Perplexity, right? Because you can essentially get better outputs from Claude 3.7. You can connect to the internet directly here. It has a canvas option, which Perplexity doesn't have. And all of a sudden, this becomes way more powerful than Perplexity. Right? So anything you can really do inside Perplexity, you can kind of do inside Claude now, apart from generate images. And instead of, this is a major thing you got to bear in mind here. And this impacts Google, probably impact the share price of Google at some point. You know, if all of these AI search engines begin to do this, but as you can see, they're targeting search engines directly. So it says, instead of finding search results yourself, Claude processes and delivers relevant sources in a conversational format. This enhancement expands Claude's extensive knowledge base with real-time insights, providing answers and more current information. And it gives some ideas of how you can use it. I'll come on to it in a minute. One thing to bear in mind here is that it is only available right now for all paid Claude users in the US, right? So you want to be in the US. However, as I've said, support for users on our free plan and more countries is coming soon. Honestly, I think that's going to come within a week or something like that. I think that's going to be pretty, this is going to be coming really quickly. And then you can see the differences here. So for example, sales teams can improve win rates by analyzing industry trends. Financial analysts can access market data. Researchers can build better reviews. I wouldn't be surprised if Claude actually releases like a deep research model as well in the future. And additionally, shoppers can compare product features, prices, and reviews across multiple sources to make more informed purchase decisions. So let me show you an example of how we can use this. And one thing to bear in mind here, actually, this is pretty interesting, is when I was using it previously, and I do have this enabled, I've had this enabled. If I say, for example, use the web search feature preview option I've enabled, that seems to engage it. But if I just go, what happened today, do a web search, find out, it doesn't work. It literally says, I don't have the ability to do that. I'm like, do a web-based search today. And it just doesn't do it, right? So you want to make sure if you're using this, that you say use a web search feature. It's just not that intelligent, not as intelligent as you would hope. Same for this, for example, if I just say what happened today, it doesn't work. Like, it literally doesn't know that it has a web search feature. Whereas if I say use a web search feature, I've enabled, it will do it, right? So for example, if I say, okay, find the latest headlines from this week about AI, we'll plug that in and we should get a live web search right here. So it will say, I'll search for the latest AI news headlines from this week for you. And then you get the ideas back in a second. And then it's going to pull in the latest results, right? Now, it actually does multiple searches in this one. I've not seen this before, but you can see here how it's done 3 different searches to get the latest headlines. So, for example, you've got the latest AI news headlines this week, and we've got a bunch of ideas right here. Then if we scroll down here, we've got another search for more specific recent headlines, and then we have a third search. So what's pretty cool about this, and I've never seen this from any other AI model, is that it will do multiple searches within one single video. Now, people will say ChatGPT does that, blah, blah, blah. But if you go into ChatGPT and we'll do exactly the same prompt, and it does do this, but it doesn't do it as well, right? So if I say find the latest news headlines from this week about AI, right? And bear in mind, this is pulling in this week, so March 2025, right? That's what it's looking for. If we actually open up this up, number one, it doesn't recognize that it's actually it doesn't actually pull in the information here. Now, if we do a search, we have to click manually search here, right? If we want to use a web search. But the problem with that is, like, Claude will automatically do it, right? You just ask it to do a web search. You don't have to click any buttons or toggle anything on. So it's kind of much easier to get the results back from Claude for a web search than it is from ChatGPT. And then also, if we pull these in, let's have a look here. So if we pull these in, it's not going to do multiple different searches. It's just going to do one, right? So like I was saying, I've never seen any other AI model actually do multiple searches for the same search term, right? So if I say find the latest headlines from this week about AI, it will do one search here, another search here, and another search here, right? And that's the biggest difference here. Is like it's doing multiple searches at once to get you the most comprehensive results you can possibly, which is super useful, right? And then because you've got Claude connected to the internet, which is already the best model for writing, already the best model for coding, all of a sudden, I would say it's way better than ChatGPT now because it has access to the latest information, but also it's just better in coding in general, right? So, for example, I'll run the same thing, right? So we've got ChatGPT over here, and we have Claude over here, and we've used exactly the same prompts, as you can see. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, create a landing page website, beautifully designed using this information for an AI news website, right? I'm going to do exactly the same prompt inside Claude as well. So we'll use the same information here and we'll see what we get back and which one creates the best outputs, right? So what we're looking for here is essentially, which AI can not just get the search, which is useful, and it seems like Claude does the most comprehensive searches because it searches 3 different times. But also the difference here is that if you ask it to then code off the back of that, look at this, right? So if we say create a landing page website, beautifully designed using this information. So we've literally said create a landing page website, like create a website, code a website, please, ChatGPT, do your magic. And all ChatGPT does is it just gives us another breakdown, right? That is not a coded website. It doesn't give us a landing page. It's pretty basic and it doesn't code anything. If we go back to Claude now, Claude 3.7, it will actually go off and it's intelligent enough to go, oh, this person asked for a website, so I'm going to code a website based on that, right? And that's the biggest difference here. It's like you can see the difference in quality and class between ChatGPT and between Claude with this latest update. That's the biggest difference. So let's pull them up side by side, because as well, the thing to note here is like, there's no point getting the knowledge if it's not helpful. And that's the difference. Like with Claude, not only does it go off and do multiple web searches, as I showed you earlier. But number two, it's intelligent enough to figure out, okay, how can we turn this knowledge into power, right? How can we turn this into something useful and actionable? So wait for that to code, but that's the difference here. Whereas, ChatGPT, it doesn't do its magic. Now, we could go back and forth with ChatGPT, but that would be missing the point, right? We're trying to be productive. We're trying to get stuff done as quick as we can. And if we just wrestling back and forth with ChatGPT to get it to do what we originally asked, well, that's no bueno, is it? Whereas, for example, with Claude, it actually came back and it gave us a website based on that information. So if we open this up now, let's publish this. We'll publish that so we can actually publish this to a subdomain, which is another difference between, ChatGPT and everything else. So if we open this up on a subdomain, we'll pull this up. We've got the website with the latest headlines. Boom shakalaka, ready to go. All right. And that's what I'm talking about, peeps. Not only is Claude great for web search now, not only does it search 3 times more than ChatGPT to get the best information, but it actually does what you tell it to do when you're coding out a website based on that, right? It's come up with the name of the website, which is AI Pulse, nice little navigation bar at the top. And then also we've got the latest headlines right here broken down, right? Even with the date, the categorization, the headline, the content, etc. Right now, you can keep building that website out. That was just a landing page, but it gives you an idea of how powerful this is. Now, let's go back here and we'll do another thing here. So, for example, if I say to Claude, okay, let me pull this up. I'm going to grab a prompt that I prepared earlier, my friends. We're going to say, right, it's hit the max length for this response. So I'm going to say, create an AI SEO tool where people can plug in the Google API key to generate responses. Use the latest API documentation by doing a web search from Google AI Studio to build it so it works, right? I just want to check whether this actually works. So essentially what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get the updated documentation because Claude's pre-trained documentation from up to October 2024 is not going to be very useful, right? But if it can pull in the latest Google Gemini API information, which it's doing right now, to then build a tool off the back of that, well, that would be awesome, right? Because then it's less likely to break, it's more likely to work, it's going to use the latest functionality, etc. Right? So you can see here now, it's starting to build that out, right? So it's like, right, I'll create an SEO tool that uses a Google AI Studio API. Let me search for the latest documentation first to ensure we're using the most current API specifications. Awesome. Then it's like, now let me search for more specific information about implementing the Gemini API with Node.js, right? Then it's like, right, let me search for that information. And then it's like, right, now based on my information, I'll create this tool. Now, one thing I would say, if I'm going to improve the prompt, and I'm just going to stop that right here, is I'm going to say, create the tool using HTML, CSS, and JS, right? And the reason for that is because, of course, I want you to be able to see this in progress. And if we just create an app, I don't think that's going to preview. So JSON files, they don't tend to preview once you create them, right? So there's no preview option on app.js, but we can get a preview on this one because what it would do is code out the website first using HTML, and then we can preview it in a second. But this is just far beyond what ChatGPT can do. So, and the other thing as well, like you could use Perplexity, but the problem with Perplexity is like there's no canvas option, right? You can't preview between canvases, you can't preview websites, etc. So this should also do the back end as well. So it will design the front end in terms of HTML, CSS, etc. If you wanted it to, you could also ask for the back end afterwards. As you can see previously, it was creating like the app.js and everything else. So if you wanted the back end for that, you could get it coded later. I wouldn't recommend doing that in one prompt because it will run out of context limit on the message, but you get the point, right? And so it's coding that out now based on the latest documentation from Google and this API, right? Now, I've shown you how it's better than Perplexity because Perplexity doesn't have a canvas. I've shown you how it's better than ChatGPT because ChatGPT doesn't actually do what you ask it to when it codes out the tool, right? So when we were, looking at this previously, let me open up ChatGPT again now, and we go back to our previous history. So for example, this one, it's not going to create the HTML. It doesn't even let me preview the canvas because it hasn't created a website, right? Using exactly the same prompt. So that's the difference in class here. And then if we open up the front end, yeah, so you can see it's creating the back end here, and then you've got this stuff ready to go. And then you can just start creating it. Now, of course, you're going to get some errors along the way, but this is far more likely to work based on it pulling in the latest Google AI Studio documentation. Super useful, right? Super useful. So you get the idea, like this is way more powerful than it's ever been before because you've got this connected to the internet, right? And it's a lot smarter than Perplexity. It's a lot smarter than ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is considered one of the best for coding. So that's basically it when it comes to the Google Claude web search. I've shown you how to get access, how to use it, etc., how to enable it. So you just go to your settings, profile, go down to feature preview, and make sure you have web search enabled. Like you see right here, it is coming for free users and it's coming for people outside of the US. It's just been launched today, a few hours ago, for people in the US. So that gives you an idea of how it works step by step, how to use it, how it's more powerful, and the benefits of this versus everything else. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get one of my best AI agent workflows, feel free to get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Prices are going up at the end of the month, so make sure you lock in your legacy price now before prices go up, because that'll save you a lot of money long term. Also comes with my best email content automation, social media and video automations, AI agent workflows, web automation, scraping, AICO automations, and NA10 templates and workflows, along with a crash course for saving hundreds of hours and making more money with AI, and also all of my best SOPs. These get updated pretty much every single day, right? So it's usually new updates coming in daily inside the AI Profit Boardroom. And along with that, it comes with an awesome community of people, so you can ask 488 members about the latest upgrades and updates inside AI. So feel free to get that link in the comments and description. And if you do want to get a free SEO strategy session, bear in mind, we can help you optimize for AI if you want. This is something we're very knowledgeable about. I've been testing this for years. And so if you want to learn how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visitors this month and just get a custom tailored SEO game plan to your website one-to-one, feel free to get that link in the comments and the description to the free SEO strategy session. So next up, what I'm going to cover is the new Google Gemini updates. And we'll run through those in a second. So we'll be covering those and how it works step by step. But this is a big update, and I'll show you exactly how to use it, plus some of my best prompts for using this in a second. Just getting these links ready for you. Feel free to take a cheeky little breather. So a little sip of water there. So Google Gemini have just released a brand new update, which is the Gemini Canvas. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to use it. This is available for free, so anyone can get access to this. And you can basically write code and create all in one interactive space. You can also do deep research inside Gemini for free as well, which is super powerful. And essentially, I'm going to be showing you some of the best ways to use this, how to get access, and what it is, plus why it's different, right? Because obviously ChatGPT and Claude both have the Canvas feature inside it. So it actually took a long time for Gemini to use this, but I'm going to show you step by step exactly how it works, why to use it, and why this is potentially better than other options that you've got on the market right now, right? There's also some new features, including Gemini drawing, which I'll show you in a second, and it is really fun to play with. I'll show you how to use that step by step. But essentially what you can do here is you can draft content and websites, like you can see. You can also create games and quizzes. You can visualize like coding. So for example, like a website or an algorithm, that sort of thing. And even has like crazy stuff like this physics particle simulator, which is pretty crazy. Let's open that up so we can actually try it right now. This is an example of the canvas. So if we click on these, we can get an example of it. Let's try the coding algorithm visualization as well. So this is another option. And you can see here, for example, if we press play, this is from Gemini Canvas, right? Now, have you ever seen something like this look as good on, say, for example, Claude or, for example, ChatGPT? Probably not, right? And you can create this sort of stuff without coding or any sort of coding skills, which is pretty amazing. The same with quizzes, right? So, for example, if we go on this physics quiz example, you know, what is the term for energy possessed by an object due to its motion? Oh, I actually got it right. Wow. I was paying attention at school. But yeah, you get the point. Like, you can create these nicely designed quizzes, great for training your team and also learning if you have knowledge that you want to improve, etc. And it's pretty simple and easy to get access. You just go to Canvas on Google. So if you want to try this out, go to Canvas, like you can see right here. You can use this on the free plan, so you don't need to be paying for this to use it. And then, for example, we can select Canvas down here, right? So that's the key here, select Canvas. Now, the cool thing about Gemini is it can do live searches as well. So for example, if we say, okay, tell me what are today's news headlines in AI, right? We'll test it out. I also really like Gemini because number one, the UI is super nice, but number two as well, it's really, really fast to respond. Like you can see how quick it responds to us, right? Which is pretty awesome when you think about it because it just makes everything easier. Now, using the Canvas feature, if we say, okay, create a beautiful landing page using this information for my AI news website, it's going to start running that, like you can see. And then we can use this to start building this out, right? So wait for that to load. And you can see it's coding right here. So it's actually created now. And then look at the page you get back. Like it looks really cool. You can also share this. So you can share it on a Canvas subdomain, like you see right here. So if we open this up, this is the subdomain we just created, you know, and we just coded the whole website in like, what, one single prompt. Plus we connected Gemini to the internet to get the latest news so that our page actually looks better. Now, let me compare how that looks versus something like Claude. Claude has just released web search as well, right? Which is great. But with Claude, let me show you an example of what the difference is here, okay? So if we open this up and we'll go to, for example, leveraging web search over here. We're going to open this up. This is an example of the page that Claude did with pretty much the same prompts, right? So this is an example. Now, Claude has always been like my favorite tool for coding and that sort of thing. But look at the difference here. And don't even get me started on ChatGPT. I'll show you the examples of ChatGPT in a second and how that compares. But like, look at the difference in class here. So this is the example from Claude. Really basic design, doesn't look that modern, not really that nice on responsive mode as well, as you can see. Whereas compare that versus the design quality of Gemini, right? Gemini is actually smart enough as well to figure out, okay, I don't have any images to work with. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill in the blanks and not leave any nasty black spaces for, you know, for images to insert, right? So inside Claude, you got all these boring gray sections where I have to insert an image manually, but I can't because there's no upload feature, right? I'd have to go back and forth with Claude over and over again, right? Whereas, for example, inside Gemini is super annoying because, I mean, Gemini is so much better, not annoying. Gemini is so much better because number one, it creates a more modern landing page, but number two, it's smart enough to figure out, okay, I haven't got any images to work with, so let's just insert that in, right? Now, even worse, you might be saying, okay, but compare it to ChatGPT, compare Canvas on Gemini to ChatGPT. Well, if we go onto ChatGPT and we'll open up the previous example that I did using pretty much the same prompts, right? So we went into ChatGPT and we said, right, find the latest headlines from this week about AI. So that's exactly what we did with Gemini in this search. Let me close this, right? So you said, tell me what are today's news headlines in AI, right? Same prompt. And it did its magic, which is great. But when we went to ChatGPT, we said, create a landing page, website, beautifully designed using this information, right? So it's very clear that we want it to create and code a landing page, right? That's the whole point of this. And if we compare them side by side, ChatGPT is just like, all right, mate, I'm not going to code it. I'm not going to create the landing page, but here's just some random information about me and, you know, the page you want, right? Whereas, for example, Gemini was like, boom, shakalaka, let's code this bad boy out. Same prompt, same process, but it was smart enough to figure out, okay, we need HTML, right? And so for me personally, you compare the coding quality of Gemini Canvas versus Claude, and Gemini's code is nicer. Like the UI is 10 times nicer, especially on the canvas. If we compare it versus ChatGPT, well, ChatGPT doesn't even create the website, right? It's just a very, very basic website. Now, you might be saying, okay, but what about Grok? So we can compare Grok side by side as well. Let's do that. We use exactly the same prompts. So let's pull this up. We'll say, tell me what are today's news headlines in AI. And we'll open this up. So now we're going to say, yeah, tell me today's news headlines in AI. It does it, and it's super fast to reply. So that is impressive. But now we're going to say, okay, create a new landing page, and we'll just compare which one does a better code, right? Which one is a better option? Bear in mind, Gemini Canvas is free, so you're not paying for Gemini. I think Grok is very limited in terms of its maximum responses per day. But let's see what we get back. It is really quick at replying with code. So we've got that ready to go. Let's preview it over here. And look at that, right? So that's the response you get back from Grok. Now, Grok is supposed to be like, you know, one of the best AIs in the world. But which one gives you the better outputs, right? Which landing page do you prefer? Is it this one from Grok, which is like super basic, super boring, really basic design, no navigation bar there, no logo, no name of the publication, very, very short, not nicely designed, no information about the publication, no contact us button, and the design is like really old style? Or do you want this style, right, from Gemini, which we did with exactly the same prompts, right? Which is, for example, you got the AI news today, it's got the information about it, it's nicely designed, it's got this clear CTA button, the information, the headlines are good, it splits it into AI news and AI resources, and then you've also got some information about AI today, which is the name of the publication it came up with itself, right? And so that's the difference here. Most people don't know about this. Like, it's so brand new. Most people have not realized how good Gemini just became at coding, especially on the front end. It's absolutely awesome. And because it's connected to the internet as well, you can create really good outputs. And as I've shown you today, they're better than Claude and they're better than ChatGPT. And it tends to follow instructions better than these tools as well. Not just that, right? So inside Gemini as well, because you have the new Canvas feature, if we open up a new chat here, and I'm going to upload my book, right? My link building mastery book. So let me find that one. Let's pull this up, for example. Where is it now? There we go. All right. So this is a book that I wrote a few years ago called SEO Link Building Mastery, right? So we're uploading that document, and you can see here, we don't need to prompt it. We don't need to give it any instructions, but it will come up with this option to generate an audio overview, right? And so we can now create a podcast using Gemini directly, right? This is kind of like a NotebookLM feature that they've inserted into Google Gemini, which is awesome because this is totally unique, right? Tell me how to do this with Claude or ChatGPT or Grok. Like, you can't. It's very, very unique. And so, you know, all of a sudden, and it's not taking a few days, it's only taken like one single update for Gemini to really get back in the race and to become something that's super powerful and super useful, right? And so if you're not using this stuff, bearing in mind it's free, like, you're missing out really, because it's really, really powerful and super easy to use and get set up. So just wanted to show you that, because we'll wait for that to load. But the fact that you can generate podcasts on the spot, the fact that you can create beautifully designed websites on the spot, and you don't need to be able to code for any of this, plus it requires very minimal prompting, and it outperforms ChatGPT, Claude, and Grok, Shows you how powerful this stuff is. Right. Let me go back to some of the other previous examples that I've done. So I've actually created a audio overview example right here. So this is the audio overview from a previous example using the exact same document, right? So this is a link building mastery book. And bear in mind, this is a 69-page book, right? And it took a 69-page book and was like, here's your podcast, mate. Now, if we actually open this up, what this is going to be is an example of two different AIs speaking to each other, right? One's female, one's male as a voice, and they're basically speaking to each other about my book. So if we open this up now, I'm just going to play this.
Right. So today we're going to dive into something that I think a lot of people struggle with. We are going to try to demystify link building for SEO.
Oh, yeah.
And we are going to be using a really cool ebook that I found. It's called Link Building Mastery by Julian Goldie.
Oh, fantastic.
And
who's an absolute legend, by the way.
In this deep dive, we're really trying to drill down and figure out what are the most effective, ethical link building techniques that you can use to improve your website's SEO.
So I'm not going to play it any more than that, because otherwise you're just watching a couple of AIs talk to each other, and that wouldn't be super exciting. But you get the point. Like, you can create a really powerful podcast that's super contextually relevant to what you've talked about. It references me, the name of the book. All we had to do was upload the book. Like, it required very little prompting, and it was incredibly easy to do, right? And that's the power of this. Is like, you can do that all with one single prompt, and then you could even, for example, turn that into a website. And all of a sudden, you can take one piece of content and chop it up across, like, I mean, usually what we do is we chop it up across like 11 different platforms at least, and it is incredibly easy to do that. So if you've not tested this out, you're missing out, and you can see the power of it. Now, what you can also do here is you can download it, right? So you can download that file, then you could upload it to SoundCloud, for example, and you could even turn that into a YouTube video as well. You can also, for example, share this link. So you can share this to social media, or you can copy the link. You can delete it at any time as well. And you could also go back and forth inside Gemini and ask it to improve things as well. But yeah, really, really cool. You can also, for example, like edit the instructions. So you could regenerate the audio overview, but give it more instructions on like what you want them to talk about, how to talk about you, etc. And all of a sudden, you can turn like any document into a piece of content that's actually quite interesting. Like, this is genuinely interesting. It's 6 minutes, 40 seconds long, like you see right here, and you can easily embed that online as well. So you get the point of exactly how to use this, what it's useful for, creating websites. I mean, here's another example. Let me pull this one up. So this is Gemini Drawing. I think this is based on the new Gemini 2.0 native image generation update. But for example, if we draw a stick man, like you can see right here, right? So this is another feature of Gemini. And then what we're going to do from here is we're going to say, okay, make this stick man way more interesting, right? And Gemini, with this awesome tool on Hugging Face, is smart enough to figure out, okay, this is a picture of a stick man, a drawing, and let's make it more interesting. So let's hit enter like so, and we'll see what we get back here. So it's loading, like you can see. You can also change the color in the top left, or you can delete it, etc. But you see how that's just taken the drawing that we previously created it and then totally updated it with like shoes and hands and like a crazy face, etc. That, you know, Gemini is super powerful. Here's another example. So this is using the Canvas feature, this Twitter post from Poonam Sony, who says they actually created a Pong game, like you can see, right? So you can create interactive games directly inside Gemini Canvas. You don't need to be able to chat. So if we go to new chat here, and then, you know, you don't need to be able to code. So for example, if we say, okay, create a ping pong game, make sure you've got Canvas selected right here, hit enter, and then boom shakalaka, we've got the ping pong game ready to go. And it was really simple and easy to build, right? It might take a couple of minutes to generate. I mean, it is a game, but it's designed it in HTML, which is awesome. And then I'm going to turn the sound off, but you see how easy that was to build. Like, it's got the sound, it works perfectly. It actually works. I mean, back in the day, back in the 80s, right, you'd have a whole team building this out. Now, someone like me can just go on and say, create this, and it'll go off, create it, and you're ready to go. So really powerful, super impressive. I've never really been impressed with Google Gemini, but this one was special. And I think if they keep going on that trajectory, like the AI is only going to get better and better. So if you want to get access to all of my best prompts, AI agents, workflows, if you want to make more money with AI and also save time, save hundreds of hours of AI, feel free to get the AI Profit Boardroom. Price is going up at the end of the month. And this comes with all my best automations and like email content automation. Bear in mind, like each one of these modules is like a full course. So if you just want to learn as much as you can about AI, this is awesome. And if you want to make it super actionable, get the crash course, right? And just start here, do this, and then implement one of these systems a week. And I can almost guarantee that you'll save hundreds of hours just like we have by scaling with AI. On top of that, inside the SOP section here, this is updated all the time with my latest tools, tips, templates, workflows. I mean, we released some MCP agents this week as well. So there's some absolutely awesome stuff in there. And then also inside the community, if you ever get stuck, like you can post inside the community. We've got 489 members to help you out, like you can see right here. And you know, people are getting their questions answered really, really quickly. So you can see here, for example, someone posted 4 days ago and they get their answer within like 24 hours, usually less. This person asked a question yesterday and they got an answer yesterday, right? And so the whole community here is just dedicated to helping you out, helping you grow, make more money with AI, and also there's weekly Q&A so you can jump on with us as well. So some awesome stuff in there as well. And if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session, feel free to get that link inside the comments and description. On this free SEO strategy session, we'll show you how to take websites from 0 to 145,000 visitors a month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot. And you'll basically get a free custom-tailored SEO game plan one-to-one. If you want to learn how AI is changing the game, if you want to learn how to get more leads, traffic, and sales of SEO, etc., then this is definitely well worth booking in. It's completely free, and you can see all the stuff that we've used to help our clients. We've got lots of happy clients. I think we've got over 100 testimonials on our website now as an SEO agency. So feel free to get that link in the comments and description to the free SEO strategy session. And next up, we're going to move on to the final section, all right, which is about NotebookLM. So we'll come on to that in a second. Any questions in the meantime? We're going to end this live stream shortly, so make sure if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. Otherwise, we'll keep on moving. Who we got in the comments? Nicholas says, we're vibe coders now. Absolutely. Vibe coding is like, I see this everywhere. I don't know if everyone knows what it means. Honestly, for me, it's just like, it's like when people started talking about AI agents, but they weren't really building AI agents. But yeah, I think vibe coding is like the new trending topic right now. What else we got here? Kusa says, love the way the big dogs are all elbowing each other. Yeah, there's so much competition right now, especially, you know, you got DeepSeek R2 coming out as well. That's not going to be long away. So yeah, there's so much going on right now, so much cool stuff happening. So absolutely amazing. Loving it. Also means there's never a dull day in AI right now, which is pretty cool. Keep rolling. Kusa says keep rolling. We'll keep rolling in a sec. Just setting up the next one. He says, got that hunger. That's what we're talking about. MCP is mind-blowing. Shout out to Jordan. Absolutely. That's crazy stuff. It makes AI agents like 10 times more powerful than they ever were before, right? Like, it's so much better now. Jesse Jiu-Jitsu, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Nicholas says, can you do back-end stuff with Gemini or Claude? Yeah, absolutely you can. Just ask it. Just ask it. It's going to take a little bit longer, but you get the point. And Fazli says, how to deploy these codes for website. So I've got some tutorials on Netlify if you want to figure that stuff out inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So feel free to get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. And then, you know, from there you can figure out. It's pretty simple and easy once you get the hang of it. Nicholas, what good? Good morning from Bangkok. Shout out to Nicholas. What model is the best for writing currently? I'm going to say Claude 3.7. And Christian says didn't get the web search update. Check. I think it's rolling out for people step by step, but I've already got it, so that's pretty cool. Some of these updates, they take a while to roll out, you know. So your best for coding, Gemini after this drop. I think on the front end, yeah, Gemini is probably the best, right, for coding on the front end. If you want to create something really complicated, I still think Claude is good. But Gemini for like basic stuff, super powerful, easy to set up, doesn't take long, and you know, it's really easy to do. So yeah, I would recommend Gemini for now. 5 hits, appreciate you, man, appreciate you. What are the best use cases for customer service? Have you checked out my website and the AI agent for that? I would check it out. I've actually got some automations inside the AI Profit Boardroom for like automating customer service emails and also automating a receptionist that can handle inbound calls, right? Which is super powerful because then, you know, you don't really need a customer service team on the phone, right? That AI agent can handle it and handle it better than most humans, honestly. So I would recommend something like that. Inside the AI Profit Boardroom, feel free to get that. So today we're going to be talking about the new update from NotebookLM. So they have essentially released these new mind maps feature, right? So you can see an example here. Let me pull this up for you. This is a tweet by Simon, who actually operates as a NotebookLM lead. And if we pull this up in full screen, you can see an example of the mind map that you can pull out. Now this is super powerful for learning, for researching, for organizing your notes, for sharing with your team as well if you're planning out projects. And you can basically, let me show this, you can upload loads of sources here. You know, you can pull this in from the web, from URLs. You can pull this in, for example, just by pasting in text. And then you can also create an audio overview. But the main thing here is that you select mind map. So you see here how you select mind map. Then you can use that to start generating responses. And it makes NotebookLM really, really powerful because you can see here, for example, you can organize projects. It's great for learning. It's great for creating information. You know, I think this would be super powerful for SEO as well. Like if you have a website and you want to cluster your keyword research, for example, you can do that using these mind maps inside NotebookLM. So this is an exciting feature that's just come out from them. Literally just came out pretty, you know, like maybe 24 hours ago, something like that. But it looks really cool, super powerful. You can see how people are using it on Twitter. Lots of cool stuff right here. Makes learning a lot more simplified as well. So if we pull up this example, you just upload your sources. You can add YouTube videos as well, audio overviews. You know, if you're researching about a particular topic, you can insert all the YouTube videos you're learning about that topic and then use that to generate, you know, your plan for learning, etc. So here's an example, and this also separates it into like topics and then clusters underneath each topic, like you can see. And if you've never used NotebookLM, it's really, really cool. So let me show you an example of what it looks like if we go to NotebookLM. Essentially here, you can upload a document. So I've uploaded my Link Building Mastery book, SEO Link Building Mastery. And then inside here, it's created the source, so it's pulled in that information. And you can also generate, for example, audio overviews, right? So if you click on audio overview over here, it will generate a conversation based on that source. Now, you can also pull in multiple sources if you want to as well. But either way, you can use this to now start using mind maps. Now, the mind maps feature is officially announced on NotebookLM. However, from what I've seen, it's going to take about a week or so for it to roll out to everyone. So you can see I actually haven't got that feature inside NotebookLM yet. But a lot of people have. So, for example, you know, like this thread you can see from Min Choi, he's got access. A lot of people do already have access, and I think it will roll out for everyone later this week as well. So, here's another example. And a lot of people are saying like it's such an underrated tool, but it's actually one of the best AI products out there, particularly if you just want to learn stuff. Like if you want to learn using AI, NotebookLM is so helpful because, for example, you can turn things into an audio view. You can take sources and then plug it into here. You can save notes. like if we go back to my notes right here, you can see all these different notebooks that I've created using Google Notebook LM. It also can create like study guides, FAQs, briefing docs, and timelines, but the main new one here is you can create mind maps. Now, also inside here, you can customize. So if you're creating an audio overview, for example, you can actually customize that, ask it to focus on specific topics, and then use that to generate whatever audio overview you want, right? Now, if you're wondering, okay, like what can you do with the audio overviews? Here's an example. So this is a video that I created and posted on YouTube right here. You can see it posted and it's ranking #1 for the keyword SEO training Honiton. Basically what I did was I took an audio voice clip, plugged that into a screencast of me talking about that particular topic, and then it generated this video that we posted onto YouTube, right? And so it's super easy and simple to set those up and build them out, and it ranks really well on Google. The other thing to note here is, like you can see, one sec, video just got cut off there. The beautiful thing about live streams, they're so unpredictable. All right, so here's an example. This is a article from AndroidAuthority.com, and you can see here they've said the new features will be available for Google Workspace users and other end users of Notebook LM and LM Plus. The rollout will be gradual and could take up to 15 days for the features to be visible. So it's going to take a little while. If you don't have them already, don't worry. At least you know exactly why. So it might take up to 15 days to get these. But you know, this is a really powerful tool. Like we can, for example, click all of these buttons. We can click generate as well. And then based on the information and the sources we pulled in here, it will take all of that and start generating a study guide, a briefing doc, FAQs, timelines, etc. And it really doesn't take long to generate all of this for us. Now, if you want to see an example of the audio overview, so here's an example that we just generated a second ago. We can also share that, so we can make that public and share it with our team and then preview it. So let's open this up. This will create a preview on a subdomain of Google Notebook. And then if we play this, we can also download it here. We can change back the playback speed as well. Let's play this.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking all about link building for SEO.
Oh yeah, link building, one of those things that everybody always talks about.
Definitely a bit of a mystery for people.
Absolutely.
But really, really important if you want your website to actually rank and get seen.
Yeah, you can have the best content in the world, but if nobody's actually seeing it.
It's not doing you much good, right?
Exactly.
So we are going to be taking a deep dive today into the world of link building with the help of Julian Goldie's playbook, Link Building Mastery, Ethical SEO Secrets.
Oh, great book. Lots of good stuff in there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, what we're trying to do in this deep dive is pull out the most important actionable strategies.
Absolutely.
To help you boost your website's ranking.
Yeah, cut through all the noise.
Yeah, exactly.
Get to the stuff that actually works.
Because there is a lot of noise out there.
There is.
So let's start off by just talking about, you know, what is link building really?
Yeah, how do we even think about this?
Yeah.
Well,
All right, I'll pause it there, but you get the point. And then, you know, you can download this, for example, like that. And this will also rank on SoundCloud as well. So if we put how to do SoundCloud SEO on Google right here, we can see that this page was actually generated with Notebook LM. So what I did was I downloaded the audio file from Notebook, plugged it into SoundCloud, uploaded it right there.
Musicians and content creators seeking to...
And this is the audio file from SoundCloud, like you can see, that is generated with Notebook LM, right? Really simple and easy to do. We uploaded it here. It's already had like 188 plays, and it ranks directly on Google as well. Plus, it's not spam. Like, you're actually creating something that's interesting, that actually helps people, etc. And it positions you as an authority. It's a great branding play, I would say, plus a fun experiment. And then also what you can do here is you can, for example, click share. like so, and you can get the embeddable code, right? So if we grab the WordPress code for this particular page, then we can use that to embed it into our website, right? So it's really easy and simple to embed SoundCloud as well directly into your website, into blog posts, etc. Also makes your content a lot better, and also you could upload that directly onto Twitter as well. So you get the point, like NotebookLM is really powerful too. Honestly, these features are already being implemented into Gemini as well, so I'm sure the mind map feature will get implemented into Gemini too, but it's pretty cool stuff. So let's come back here. Let's pull up the study guide that we got previously. I'm just going to pull that up inside here. So we've got, this is a briefing document. Like you can see, it breaks down kind of like a little bit like deep research here. And then if we go to Studio, we also have this, which is the study guide. So it actually creates a quiz, which you can see right here. Now, what's cool about this is if we take this quiz and then we'll go to Gemini, which is another Google product, of course. Right? So we're taking the study information from NotebookLM, the study guide. Then we're going to go over to Gemini, and because it's got the new Canvas feature, which you can see, we're now going to say, create an awesome plus beautiful quiz based on the information below, right? And so with the help of NotebookLM, you know, you can take study guides and you can plug them into Gemini and create like these nice little quizzes. What we can also do is we'll say code that as a website. So it's going to start coding that into HTML now so that we can preview in a second. And the other cool thing about Gemini is it is really, really fast. Like it's way faster than anything I've seen with Claude or ChatGPT, etc. It seems to be one of the quickest to do this. And then we've got this set up right here. I'm just going to say, right, make it an interactive quiz plus more beautifully designed. So just waiting for that to load. I'm going to refresh the page here. Put that prompt in, and then it should start doing its magic here. Yeah, CC. You see how it's turned it into an interactive quiz? There we go, right? And then we can select between these. Now, I'm going to say, okay, make each question a standalone quiz page so that people can fill in their answers and give the quiz a more modern, sleek design. And then it's going to update. But you get the point. Like you can easily build, you know, quizzes out, games out, etc. using NotebookLM. Doesn't take too long to do. And there we go, right? So we can click Start Quiz and just start doing our magic on it. Now this is all thanks to the new feature from Gemini. So let me pull this up. If you haven't seen this already, basically, Gemini just implemented this new feature, which is Canvas. You can also create like interactive games with it. The design is much nicer. See how it codes, etc. Really easy to set up. So I think the best way to get the most out of this is just combining NotebookLM with Google Gemini. Also, if you wanted to, for example, let's go back here. If we wanted to create a new one, we could also import Google Drive docs and also YouTube videos. So let's pull this up as an example. I'm going to take this video right here. We'll go back to Gemini, paste in, NotebookLM, paste in that YouTube video. Now you can see it's got the information from the video, and we can generate an audio version of that. Once the mind map feature comes out, we can start using it. And also there's some reasons to use this, right? So it's great for like finding connections, structuring your articles, exploring information. You know, it's a really powerful learning tool, and also just understanding the bigger picture. Plus you can like zoom in, zoom out, and all that sort of stuff, but I don't think that's impressive. So you get the point. Like these new features inside NotebookLM, super powerful, especially when combined with Google Gemini Canvas. And if you want to get access to all my best AI workflows, tips, templates, tutorials, AI agents that you can just click and deploy, feel free to get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description, and you'll see everything right here, including the crash course plus my best SOPs. This also comes with weekly Q&A calls with us, so you can just jump on the weekly Q&A calls and ask any questions that you have, and a community of 489 members, so you can ask any questions. I mean, we're always updating this, we're already adding new things. So for example, you can see this is an update just from yesterday. We post the Q&As directly inside here, so you can watch them back. And also we have all these new tutorials in like MCP agents, NA10 MCP agents, Google Trend extractors using NA10 agents, loads of cool stuff. And this is just being constantly updated with a really awesome community of people just focused on making more money and saving time with AI. So feel free to get that link in the comments description. And if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visits this month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot, feel free to get that link in the comments description. We'll give you a custom SEO tailored game plan to get you more lead sales and customers to your website directly from Google. Feel free to get that link in the comments description. Appreciate you watching, and see you on the next one. Bye-bye.